Hey everyone, so this is just going to be a quick video outlining some notes that you can take on essay number 2, describing a larger conversation. The prompt itself I think is pretty self-explanatory, and for this assignment I do want to go ahead and let you know, I'm going to show you on the computer here, if you are on Blackboard and you click on assignments and then you go to essay 2, describing a larger conversation, I've actually made an outline for this paper because I found that it helped clarify some of the assignment's expectations when students had questions in the past. So if you scroll down, it is the fourth link in that window that says outline. So you click outline and it actually opens up like this. It's just kind of something in addition to the prompt to give you a sense of direction as to what it is I'm looking for. It's got a template that kind of shows you what the thesis should look like, so on and so forth, okay? For essay number 2, a couple of things to go ahead and keep in mind would be that our pre-writing, which is a chart, that is going to be due June 3rd by the start of your class time, but of course you can turn that in early. Please make sure that you turn the pre-writing into Blackboard, okay? So that way I can give you extensive feedback. The link for the pre-writing is found under assignments, and then you click essay number 2. What you're going to do to get the pre-writing itself, I kind of talked about this in my last video and showed you, but you're going to click the essay number 2 pre-writing. And what will happen when you do that? So that's under assignments, essay 2, pre-writing. This chart's going to open up and it's kind of going to expect you to focus on one text at a time that you plan to explore in your paper. On the prompt that you see, right, there are some different combinations, and I've added the football articles to those combinations as well, just because you are taking the time to engage with those, compare and contrast those, so on and so forth. So even though they're not tangibly on the prompt, you could do those 2 articles if you so choose, okay? What you see on the assignment guidelines for printing, so again, if you're under assignments and you click essay number 2, it's that top link that says essay 2 assignment guidelines for printing. It opens up in a window for you kind of like this. I would go ahead and scroll down to the second page just so that you can kind of see the essay combinations. So again, scroll down to the second page as to go over the essay combinations. And what you can see, the 2 football articles are an option, but then we've got 4 other combinations. And all of these essay combinations, you have to work with just one of these, kind of encapsulate the idea that there's multiple ways to approach the same topic. So you could have 2 articles on the concept of higher education and college, and each one could, as you'll find from some of the readings, right, take completely different stances on whether or not a 4-year degree is actually valuable. Another topic we've got in one of our article combinations is what it means to be smart. So kind of how and in what way one can challenge the conventional definition of intellectualism. So the combinations, in addition to the football articles, are hidden intellectualism and mind over mass media. Both of those are found on Blackboard under resources, additional readings. There's also fat as a feminist issue and what food says about class in America. That's a little bit of a different topic. Both, right, kind of have to do with what drives people's food choices and why people construct their diets the way that they do. Okay, one kind of focuses a bit on social class, and obviously fat is a feminist issue. That one focuses on body image. So those are both found on the left-hand side of Blackboard. If you click resources and then you click additional readings, you can find those there. That's where all of these readings are, actually, so I'll just go ahead and say that so I don't have to keep saying it. Income inequality and a dream deferred, that's another combination that you have as an option. So that obviously is on income inequality. And then in addition to that, the new liberal arts and college is a ludicrous waste of money. Now, the goal of this assignment is going to be to have kind of a unified, coherent organization, but essentially what you're going to do is think about the following things. So I would just take a few notes to write some of this down, pause every now and then, make sure you get it all, and feel free to watch it back. You start the essay by mentioning the topic that each article is about. So kind of introducing, for instance, if you're doing the football articles, the concept of football as a whole, prior to kind of narrowing the conversation down to the two articles that you're going to explore. And then you will have a thesis statement that has 3 points. Okay, so that's something I would write down. Your thesis should have 3 points. One of those points should be an idea or an angle in the two articles that you've chosen to work with. So, for instance, if you were doing hidden intellectualism and mind over mass media, you'd have 1 point that kind of encapsulates how each article defines intellectualism differently, even though they're both kind of accomplishing the same goal of answering the question, how can we redefine what it means to be smart outside of the classroom, right? And they equate things like media, street smarts, hip hop, etc., to being as intellectual as reading something like Socrates, right? What you would do is consider your first point a comparison or contrast, whichever one you want, of an idea in the two articles. And then your other 2 points can be kind of whatever you would like in terms of the construction of each article. So you might decide that you want to focus on, for instance, tone. You might decide that you want to focus on syntax, which again is a fancy way of saying sentence structure. Tone, of course, is the attitude each author has about each subject and what their attitude toward the audience is like. And then you also can keep in mind you could compare and contrast the rhetorical appeals in each piece, right? So if you wanted to, you could think about in a paragraph what logos is like in each article, but make sure you write down that we're taking a different approach to this assignment than we did essay number 1. That means that you will not analyze whether or not one of the essays is more effective than the other. Okay, what you will do instead is you will objectively, so meaning without opinion, step back and just kind of show the audience how and in what way each article can be connected to one another. And with the pre-writing that's due on June 3rd by the start of class time, I'm going to try to pull that up again. That kind of asks you to look at each article exclusively. So I'm a strong believer in it's easier to start the assignment by just thinking about how each article operates on its own. So for instance, if you were doing mind over mass media, just in this column, you would analyze textual support from mind over mass media. The other column, maybe you do hidden intellectualism, right? If that was your essay combination. And then you don't draw connections or comparisons or contrasting ideas between the two authors until you get to that thesis statement at the very bottom of the pre-writing here. Okay, that's where you're going to kind of have a statement that says, although both authors generally discuss this topic, they do so by using different tones to present their ideas to similar audiences, something along those lines. And that kind of serves as your roadmap for the rest of the paper. So you know that body paragraph 1 is going to be about how your two articles approach an idea, but how they do so differently. Body paragraph 2 in that case would, I believe, be about tone, and the tone in each article And body paragraph 3 would be about intended audience, and showing how the audience in each piece might be similar. Something I would note down would be you have to mention and give equal weight to each article in each body paragraph. This means that you can't take the block approach of mentioning one piece, right, at a time. So focusing just on Article A in a paragraph and then just on Article B in a paragraph. Nowhere in the paper should you do that. We're going to synthesize, which is just a fancy way of saying we're creating a conversation actively between both texts in each paragraph. So in every paragraph, I should see both of your texts mentioned. So if you've got a paragraph on the idea in each article, say that's your first body paragraph, just